Jeff Rowe from 2Hacks Garage, back up at Kyle's Hack Shack. We got Kenny joining us tonight. Kenny, he's not been in a whole lot of videos lately because Kenny had a little bit of accident. He had some surgery. The good thing about it is it's wintertime. He's got time to recover, so when it's springtime, he can start wrenching again, and he's got to get back on his motorcycle because he likes to ride. So everybody wish Kenny a good luck on recovering, because I know Kyle and I like having Mad Dog out here and going places with us. So more the merrier when Kenny's here, and he needs to get healthy. With that, guys, speaking of healthy, this is going to be a healthy 455. If you notice the last few videos, Kyle and I have been doing a lot of stuff when it comes to measuring, to find clearances, all that fun jazz. We polished the crankshaft. We went ahead and rebuilt that oil pump to make it high performance, and we made some modifications to this. We already got the crankshaft in. We got everything ready to go. We got parts that came in, aka bearings. So what's the next step, guys? What we need to do is actually we need to get the pistons and we need to get the rods back in this engine. Everything's numbered, everything's internally balanced, everything's ready to go. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to button up this bottom end. I'm rambling, Kenny's staring at me, Kyle's staring at me. It's time to get to work. All right, so the first step before we go ahead and slap some pistons and rods in this engine, get a short block belt, we're going to need to clean these cylinders. We already honed them and all that. But before you do this, you want to make sure everything's clean. A lot of people say use a lint-free rag and some brake fluid and all that, or brake clean. Actually, lint-free isn't always lint-free. To really get it lint-free and not have any residue, you can actually use a coffee filter. Works very well. My buddy Shane from Slant Daily Garage pointed this out, and it works really well. This and a little bit of ATF fluid. We'll probably hit a little bit of brake fluid to get majority of out, but what you can do is you can take this and a little bit of trans fluid, because that's got a detergent in there. Get in there, scrub these clean, and it doesn't leave any residue behind, or, well, not really residue, but any fluffiness from any rags or any of that. You know, it's a coffee filter, and it works really well. So yeah, that's a little tip that you can do, is coffee filter and a little bit of ATF fluid to clean your cylinder before you start poking in rods and pistons. Pretty neat. All right, so if you look at that, Kyle's still cleaning on there. We're really scrubbing them really good, but basically what you're doing is wax on, wax off. What you're doing is you're getting into the cross-hatching. Like I said, we did hone that, and you're getting out all the debris. So I went and wiped it out with some brake cleaner and with a microfiber, and you can see, you know, nice and dirty, getting all that excess goo off there. A little bit of ATF, I went back through along Kyle, and we, did the coffee filter trick, and then go back through the dry coffee filters and really get in there and scrub it. Yeah, that's what you're removing. You're removing all the dirt and stuff out of those cross hatches. So when we go to assemble this, we know that those are clean. So when those rings start seating, they'll seat correctly. A little bit more cleaning to do, and we'll start prepping everything else. And mind you, in this video, you're not going to see us checking clearances with anything, because in previous videos, we measured everything to get the clearances on the rods. We already did it, obviously, with the crankshaft, so we know what that is. So we're not going to need a plastic gauge or anything like that. So it's just going to be an assembly, get it done, so we can move on.
Makes total sense to me.
All right, so the next step, what we're going to do, I just cleaned the rod journals there, is we are going to get everything prepped here. So what we need to do, we need to oil the wrist pins. We need to make sure this is all clean, put the new bearings in it, and we need to take the bolts out. We need to make sure that those are also clean, along with putting some ARP thread lubricant on there. These are marked, so we'll know exactly where they go. But on top of that, guys, too, is there is a ring orientation. We've explained in another video. You want to make sure your actual ring gaps are oriented the correct way. So we're going to go ahead and take care of all of that and get these oiled up, and we're going to start installing them after that. Nice part about this, we are reusing the pistons that came out because they're perfectly good. So we know we shouldn't have really any problems with that. So yeah, we're going to get to making sure these are clean, get some new bearings in them, get some lube on them so we can start assembling. All right, so this is what we got going on. So what happened there was cleaned everything up, lubed the rod bolts, put the new bearings in, Kyle lubed the wrist pins, and we got them all in order. We know where they need to go. So the next step what we're going to need to do is we're going to have to put them in there. So what we're going to do is those are already clean, but we do need to, when we put these in, we're going to need to lube all that up. So it's, lubricated, so on its first fire, it doesn't just melt it down. But what we're going to do is the cylinders itself, we're going to wipe down with a light oil now that they're clean, and we can start poking these in to get them all taken care of. So that is the next step. Not too shabby to do, or not too hard to do. It's just a little bit time consuming. And mind you, these are an Eagle forged rod, and those are an Icon forged piston. And this is 40 over. So we are, and I believe these are a Clevite bearing that's going in this. ARP bolts. Yeah, good combo. Definitely going to take some abuse. All right, so we got everything installed. Went pretty smooth, actually. Two sets of hands is always better than one. Yeah, it goes pretty easy. Like I said, made sure all the cylinders were clean, make sure everything was lubed up properly, and just take your time. But now what we need to do is we need to go through and torque down all the connecting rod bolts. Your rods should always come with the paperwork that says that, what the torque setting is. But in some cases, if you look here on the actual rod bolt head, it's going to tell you the name of these bolts here. And what you can do is look up the ARP, that number there, and you can get the torque specs on that too. So that's what we're going to go ahead and now do, is get that all torqued down so we can get to the rest of this. All right, so we got everything torqued down. Kyle went ahead and looked at all the specs on that, and that was 63 foot-pounds. So we got everything done. We did do it in 3 consecutive intervals, like it said. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and measure for connecting rod side clearance. It's pretty simple, guys. Different places will say you're going to measure at 12 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and 6 o'clock. I went ahead and put this straight up at the 6 o'clock position, and there's a gap here between the rods. So the rods that the face that faces each other, that's your rod side clearance. Too much and things are going to want to move around. Too little and you're not going to get enough oil in there. So you're just going to be able to, you're going to go through your feeler gauge or a tappet gauge, and you're going to find the one that goes through there and slides through smoothly. So that is the ones I checked it before I did this so I didn't waste time. We're sitting at 15 thousandths. So what we need to do is we need to go in and check to make sure that is correct, which I already looked up and we're right within spec. So I'll go through and check all these and to make sure that we have the clearance we need. Clearance. All right, so all those specs was pretty good. Everything was right there in the 15,000th range. Kind of next step we're going to do, just to get some things buttoned up, we're going to go ahead and install the windage tray on this. Kyle got a new oil dipstick tube and got that installed already, but we need to get the windage tray back on this, along with the oil pump that we did all those modifications to. So yeah, that's kind of next steps, is getting the windage tray on, and let's get this oil pump installed. Now, mind you, this is the one that we did modify with a bigger tube for the pickup. It's got the Loon Performance plate in here. That's got the groove for more oiling, and it also has where we took the gears, if you want to call it, rotors, and dimpled them. It's in another video, just to get more oil flow for all of this. So yeah, that's our next step: windage tray, oil pump. All right, well, there you have it. Kyle's getting some good glamour shots of his 455. So if you want to call it, this is kind of a short block assembly. All we got left to do on this is we are going to paint it once everything's on there. The oil pan's not with us right now. It's getting hot tanked, clean, get all the old paint off of it. But yeah, it's the hard part's assembled. It just takes a little bit of time. Like I said, 2 sets of hands, 2 sets of eyes is much better. Just take your time doing this. Make sure everything goes together right. Don't force it. Make sure everything's lubed properly. So yeah, the next time you see this engine, hopefully a timing cover's on it. You got the oil pan on it, and it's all ready and painted. So yeah, that's it, guys. Assembling the 455, and we still got more work to do on it. But for tonight, 2X Garage, a whole lot of fun. We'll see you in the next one.